Hi everyone, and welcome back to Lavender Cottage Fibre Arts podcast. Today is going to be one of our knit and chat videos. I think this might be the fourth one that we've done so far, I think.
Possibly.
So we're doing
a couple.
Yeah, just like a little bit of a wrap up of a few like things that we've been to recently and a little bit of a show and tell. So we're going to be talking about the Yarra Valley Wool Show, which was a couple of weekends ago in Mooroolbark, and then also the International Flower and Garden Show. I think that's the name of it. That was at the Exhibition building last week, was it?
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, I guess it's Tuesday today, so it was actually the week before.
Yeah. But before we go further into it though, we would just like to acknowledge that we're recording this video on the lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation and extend our respect to their elders past, present and emerging, as well as to any Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander people who are watching this video today. I suppose so. Yeah, thank you for clicking on this video. Thank you for coming back if you have watched one of our videos before. And if you haven't, you're very welcome on this channel. We are two twin sisters from Melbourne in Australia, and we mostly talk about fibre arts, predominantly knitting, but also a little bit of crochet, sometimes weaving, sometimes sewing. But Pia also does quite a fair bit of ceramics that she talks about as well.
Yeah. Not just any sort of like crafty sort of
and
little projects that we've been working on.
We like to intersperse our regular podcast episodes with a knit and chat video, which is sometimes a knit and chat, but sometimes it's a stitch and chat, like Pia was doing, I think, embroidery in our last one.
Yes.
But today we both happen to be
knitting. So it is a knit and chat, and it's probably, I mean, it's quite sort of like stormy, kind of like gloomy weather in Melbourne today, so it's kind of a good day to sit inside with a cup of tea and you know, read a book or do some knitting or something like that. It's one of those days.
I think I read March, like the month that we've just had in Melbourne, was like the driest March on records, or in a very long time. I can't remember exactly what the statistic was.
Very dry.
But then yesterday was the 1st of April, and there was like 80 millimeters of rain in one day. The weather has very quickly transitioned into
autumn's definitely here.
So what are you working on in this video?
So at the moment I'm just casting on the first little bit to pick up some stitches for another square. This is so this is the mitre square blanket that I've kind of revived, or brought out of hibernation, and this is, I think that's the right way, from the Hue Shift Afghan pattern by Knit Picks. So this is the sort of like blue and green panel, and I've actually almost finished. Like, I've just got this kind of column of squares to go for this panel, and then this panel will be done.
So that's like a quarter of the blanket, basically,
but I guess also like the border is probably maybe about as much work as doing one panel, so I guess you could say maybe each of the panels is about a fifth.
Okay, that's still pretty good.
Of the work to do. And then like seaming it all together. I think the pattern says use mattress stitch to seam it all together, which I haven't done before, but like I'm sure I'll be able to find some
I think that's pretty
YouTube
basic.
tutorials or whatever.
Pretty straightforward. Oh, that's good.
And what are you're working on? A Ghost Whisperer?
Yeah, so I have knit a couple of the Ghost Whisperer. It's a pattern by Park Williams before. This one though, I decided instead of it, the pattern, oh god, I just got like mohair.
Oh, you inhaled it
in my mouth, I think.
Oh,
the pattern you just cast on and start working in stockinette straight away, so it has like a rolled edge. But I decided with this one to just put some ribbing. I think because it's worked at such a loose gauge, you can't really see that it's actually ribbed, but it the hem doesn't roll, I guess, from putting the ribbing there. So I just thought I would try that just for something a little bit different. And the yarn that I'm using is I bought this at Maker in
Bygone Street?
Yeah, would you call that?
East Brunswick.
It's,
That's East Brunswick.
It's not Carlton. Yeah, East Brunswick.
It's East Brunswick.
At Maker. And this is from Prosper Yarns, which I'm pretty sure is actually a New Zealand dyer. And it's their sort of kid silk mohair base, which I think they call minty or something like that. I can put it in the description box what they call the base, but it's a kid silk mohair base. And I'm pretty sure the colourway was called Tara Green.
Okay.
I don't know if that's like a type of plant or something like that.
I'm not too sure.
I had initially thought about casting this on like before Christmas as something to wear, because I felt like it's like would look nice on Christmas because of the colour, but it's not so green, Christmassy that you couldn't wear it any other time of the year, but I just didn't get around to it. So but I've got a wedding coming up in about a month or so to go to, so I thought if I maybe can get this finished, it would look nice with like a black, like a silk dress kind of thing. So that's why.
Yeah, because I feel like you've worn one of the, I feel like I've seen a photo of you in one of the Ghost Whisperers.
Yeah, I did.
At some sort of fancy event.
Yeah, it was like at the gala dinner.
Like a black tie sort of event.
Department's 50-year birthday.
Oh.
50th birthday, yeah. But yeah, so we thought we would talk about, in today's Knit and Chat, we went to the Yarra Valley Wool Show, and then like within that same week, I think, we went to the flower show as well.
Yes. Oh, I've got to sneeze.
Oh, that might be from the mohair. Oh, sorry. So yeah, I guess the Yarra Valley Wool Show, I think it's actually part of like a bigger like
they're just their local council has their, I think it was called the Muralbark like autumn festival or something like that.
Yeah, so I think there is also like, you know, rides and stuff like that, but we just went to the wool show part of it. Yeah. It's just for one day, so it's just on the Sunday, and unfortunately, like the Sunday that it was on, we had something else on in the afternoon, so we were on a bit of a
tight schedule. We had stuff in the morning. Oh yeah, I donated blood in the morning, so
we had a fairly small time window.
We couldn't get there like as soon as it opened
to visit. I did try and take a little bit of like video, so I'll try and put some.
I'll splice some of that.
I think they call that B-roll footage in the sort of YouTube world. But I sort of kept forgetting, I guess, because like I was just excited to look at all the dyers and stuff. But it was, I think for us, it's probably about a 45-minute drive out there through Wurundjeri and stuff. So it is like a nice area drive, and it's a nice area. And the wool show is just in like the community hall, but they had a few different, I think there was like inside maybe 3 different rooms, and then they also had outside, I think two really big marquees, and then there were a few other like individual vendors that had smaller marquees as well. It was mostly like hand dyed yarn, like different dyers, but there was also a few other.
There were a few people selling like made items, like crochet sort of made items or beanies and like knitted stuff. And I feel like at least a couple of the people selling like made items were also selling hand dyed yarns, and maybe they also like make things out of their own hand dyed yarns and sell like the finished products as well. And
there was quite a few people selling like sewn project bags, but then also like
stitch markers,
aprons, pencil cases, but also there were people selling notions as well. I think a fairly typical mix for like a fibre festival. And I think there were a few yarn stores there, like I know the Muralbark wool shop was there, but there was a few others that I honestly can't remember the names, and some of them were also selling some sort of like commercial yarns as well. So it was a good mix, mostly I think Victorian based dyers, but I think 3 Cats yarn, I think she's either from New South Wales or Canberra. I hadn't seen her yarns at a yarn show before. I think she was the only one that I stood out to me that I kind of knew that she was from interstate, but I think probably mostly Victorian. So but yeah, I think we had a good time, and it's good as well. I think even if you're trying not to buy stuff, sometimes to go to these type of things, because I guess a lot of their indie dyers, like most of their business is online. It can be hard to kind of see their stuff in person.
Yeah, I guess if you
without
want
going to
either see the colours in person or like, I suppose also
feel
to like feel the bases,
especially if they've got like a couple of different bases. Like some people might have like a merino nylon sock yarn and a BFL nylon sock yarn, and if you haven't felt the BFL yarn before, you might be a bit on the fence about whether.
What's BFL?
Blue faced Leicester. It's just like a different breed of sheep.
Oh, right. Okay.
And the wool is a bit sturdier, so it's not quite as soft as merino. So I think some people say they don't like it, but other people sort of have no problem with it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or even like one of the places that was selling a lot of commercial yarns, they had a few yarns from Noro, and like I have like looked at a lot of their yarns online, and they look really beautiful. They're those Japanese like color changing ones. But they have so many different bases that I honestly find it a bit confusing.
Yeah.
And some of the sort of yardage from their bases, different bases, can be quite similar, but the fibre compositions are pretty different. So I guess it's nice.
Well, and I suppose it's just better to like see it and feel it in person, rather than just saying, oh, you know, this has got this percent of this fibre and that one's got a slightly different percent or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, what difference does that make to the final product? Like, if you're just looking at sort of like numbers to compare, like it's probably a bit hard to compare.
So, I don't know. I feel like I was fairly restrained. But I still did buy a few things. And Pia got some nice things as well.
I just got two. I only got one thing really, like two skeins of.
We were sort of like laughing about them when we were at the garden show. We were like, it's like a role reversal. Like Pia was like really in her element, and I was just kind of tagging along. Like I enjoyed the flower show, but I don't really know much about gardening. So
you need to be like held back from like spending way too much money. I think I was also pretty like good at the garden show. But if anyone's ever watched the TV show Parks and Recreation, there's like a scene where they go to like a health food store with Chris, who's like the guy who's really into like, you know, exercise and like vitamin supplements or whatever, and he like when he walks in the door he's like Nirvana, and then like says hello to like all these shop assistants that he knows is on like first name basis or whatever. And so I feel like that's kind of the reaction that I had when arriving at the garden show, and it's the reaction you have whenever you arrive at like a yarn market or like show or festival or whatever. It's kind of funny. I'm sure a lot of people will, if you've watched Parks and Rec, will know what I mean.
So maybe should we show what we bought from the wool show? Do you have your yarn down here?
Yes, I did bring it downstairs with me.
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, you can go first.
Okay. So sorry, there will be a little bit of crinkling because I have one thing that's wrapped in plastic. I guess I'll show you the
ASMR.
The first thing I bought was actually this project bag from Patil Knits. I'll just hold it up closer. So it's this really nice, like a very decent size. Like I don't know if I could fit a sweater quantity of yarn in here, but I could definitely fit like a top quantity of yarn in here. And it has, I quite like this type of wrist strap as well, because I find if it just has like the strings, like if you're trying to knit and walk, it twists around while you're walking. So I much prefer this style, and it's a little bit padded as well. I think I saw she is actually releasing like a sewing pattern for project bags that's being tested at the moment. So
keep an eye out for it.
That might be something cool. I don't know though, because I think it is a bit quilted. I don't know
if you would need like the special quilting machine to be
not so much a machine, but you need something called a walking foot. On a sewing machine, but I think you can purchase those, and I guess I could see how expensive they were. I'll probably ask her as well, like if it was required, or it might actually specify in the pattern. But anyway, so this is the project bag that I bought from Patil Knits, and everything else I bought is inside it. So the first thing I will show is, this little fluff, some fabric. This I actually don't know the shop that was selling this was, because they had a bit of a mixture of like, it was mostly quilting fabric that they were selling, but also some like books, notions. They had a small amount of yarn, but then my receipt from them said something haberdashery Mont Albert, but then when I looked up that business name, like, that's not actually a shop, so I don't know like if...
I mean, it kind of had the vibe of if it was just sort of like a club or like a...
Yeah, maybe.
Like a craft club or something like that. Because a lot of their stuff seemed to be sort of like secondhand.
Yeah, they had a lot of like vintage, like tins and like boxes.
Yeah, and some like secondhand like patterns and stuff.
Yeah.
As well.
So
that gave me the vibes that this seemed to be just like someone's, not in a bad way, but like personal belongings rather than like a big commercial. Like,
yeah, and I think like the fabrics that they were selling, it wasn't like by the meter. It was just kind of like pre-cut quantities that all had different prices on them.
Yeah,
like
that kind of gave me a bit of sort of like D-stash kind of vibes.
Yeah, it might have been from someone's D-stash. But anyway, so I bought 2 different fabrics. So this first one is, maybe I'm a bit of a fraud for buying this because I've never been to Italy. But it's like, I think it's a map of Rome, but like a sort of like a artistic style. So I'll just hold it up. And it's 1.1 by 90 centimeters, so I'll definitely be able to get a project bag out of that. And the second one is also 1.05 by 1.1, so that one I will also be able to get a project bag. And this one is like vintagey, sort of like food label things, which I thought was kind of cute. I don't know, that could actually be a fun, I reckon, fabric to make like an apron.
Yeah, I guess if it's sort of like food themed, it would
so maybe
go
I
well
will
for like
maybe look up a pattern for an apron or something like that to make for that one, maybe, or I might still just use it for a project bag. But yeah, so that was some fabric I bought, and then just a couple of yarns. So the first lot was from Chloe at Woolen Works. And this actually, she very kindly offered to set these aside for me. I asked her if she had any like overflow, like, because I think she mentioned that she was going to be bringing overflow from her Barbie collection, because I think like that was like a pre-order, but I think when she dyes the yarns, she dyes 4 skeins in a pan, so she will sometimes have leftovers.
I suppose if she got an order for like an odd number or whatever.
Yeah. So I messaged her to ask her if she had any overflow of this, and she did, and she set it aside for me. So I bought like a sweater quantity to make. I think I want to make a lento. Actually, I have been looking up like sweater patterns that would work well with boucle yarn, and the lento is one pattern that I think I have come across quite a few times that people have made it with boucle. But if anybody has any recommendations of sweater patterns that would work well with a DK weight boucle, so this is just two of the skeins, but I bought 6 to make a sweater for my size, and the colorway is called Weird Barbie. So it's like very vibrant pink with lots of other colors through there as well. I do quite like the way that like variegated yarn, like it obviously you don't get the sort of speckle effect, but I think the colors are quite vibrant with boucle yarn, and I think that will look really fun as a bit of like a crazy, well, I guess it is Weird Barbie, so
yeah,
like a crazy sweater. I feel like a lot of our Barbies when we were kids ended up being
weird Barbies.
Weird Barbies.
The ones
I guess
like,
probably like the ones that you
weird hair
play with too hard. Yeah, remember we had there was this one Barbie at our grandma's house, and I don't know what happened to it. I think maybe like we tried to put like conditioner or something in its hair or something like that, so the hair went this very, very strange texture. Like it went like the texture of like ramen noodles kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we actually called it Maggi Noodle Barbie.
Because Maggi Noodles is like a
the
brand
2-minute
of
noodles,
like instant
noodles. Yeah. So its name was
in Australia,
Maggi Noodle Barbie, because so I feel like that's probably our weirdest weird Barbie that we had.
Yeah.
And then I just got 2 other skeins of yarn from Maximu, probably one of my favorite dyers at the moment. And so this is the first color that I got. This one is called Flower Power. That's pretty cool. And then this other one is maybe not quite as much variegation but more speckles, is called Glitter Bomb. And these I actually got on his luxury sock base, which I think is like a new base, or maybe it's a base that he has kind of revived, because all of the other yarns that I have from him are on his ultra soft sock, which is a merino cashmere nylon blend, whereas the luxury sock is just like an 85-15 merino nylon, so it doesn't have the cashmere, so the base is just maybe a little bit smoother. I do like I've made quite a few socks from the merino cashmere nylon blend, and they are really, really soft. But the cashmere, I think, causes it, like, they become quite fluffy after you've worn them a few times. Okay. So I think that maybe for socks, maybe the without the cashmere is the way to go. And like this still feels like really soft. I don't like. Oh yeah, yeah. Like I think merino yarn is typically very soft anyway. Yeah. So yeah, that was my little show and tell from the Yarra Valley Wool Show. Yeah. Do you want to show?
Yes. So I just bought 2 skeins of yarn. Get out of this bag. So I'll just hold it up. To see the colorways. So this is the Tough Stocking. It's a fingering sock weight, and it's from Dyed by Hand Yarns.
And is that just like a merino nylon?
Yes, yep. It's a 75-25 merino nylon blend. And the colorway of this one is called One Hit Wonder. Which is, like, I think it's not a specific colorway. From looking at her website, it's just her like what she labels it when she does, like if this is like an experiment, or it could be like the end of, you know, a few other bits and pieces kind of thing.
Yeah, like I think I have seen some dyes, if they only have a tiny bit of dye powder left in a jar, they just do some speckling, or
yeah,
I think I've even seen some dyers use like a sock blank, like a tube of sock yarn, to like wipe up like the benches and stuff afterwards, and it gets like it's just like a completely one of a kind. Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess it's sort of like one of a kind. So she just had 2 skeins left of that. She said she did have 3 at the start of the day, but someone else had already bought one.
Did and you want to make like a tank top or something?
Yeah,
like
maybe
that.
some sort of like singlet-y type thing, or potentially like a short sleeve thing, which I guess this probably wouldn't be enough quantity, but I think if I did you know, say maybe like a bit of contrast with, I feel like because this is very bright, if you did contrast even with black, that it would stand out quite a bit. Or
yeah, like you could do like the, I don't know, like the neckband and the hem in a contrast, or like I reckon you could even find like there's quite, or
even if you did sort of like a raglan style thing and did like the sleeves in like a plain colour or something.
I feel like in that yarn there's a fair bit of like this sort of like magenta-y kind of colour that you could try and sort of play on that a little bit.
Similar to, yeah. But anyways, I'm sure I'll think of something to do with it.
Was it this dyer, was it her who like heaps of her yarn colourways are like related to boobs?
Yeah, like I think she had, you know, much ado about knockers. I think there was one called Lake Titty Kaka.
But it was spelled like T-I-T-T-Y. Yeah.
One called something or other Juggernaut or something like that.
Yeah, I think I took a few little video clips of some of the names that I found quite funny. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I think she, from looking at her website, she had like a collection of all these sort of like breast themed names, which I'm not too sure if that was because some of the proceeds from the original collection was going towards like breast cancer research.
Yeah, it might have been, because I think I recall there was quite a few dyers last year that did each dyer had like a special colorway that was like for breast cancer research. So
that might be the sort of, or maybe she just finds it funny. But yeah, and so when we were kind of like browsing, I had like picked up these 2 yarns, and then some just like random person was like, "Oh, that's really nice. Like, where did you get that from?" So then I was like, "Oh no, I need to buy this because it was like the one hit wonder sort of thing that I was like, oh, if I put it back, like, Yeah, and I really like those sort of like rainbow, like jewel tone type.
Yeah, I think it does have quite a lot of like jewel
colours. So I had a bit of like a bit of FOMO, I think.
Oh, but that's okay. I think both of us did pretty well. You obviously did better than me. And then I guess we also had our like obligatory CWA scone.
Yes. I had Devonshire tea.
Yeah. And that was pretty much it for the Yarra Valley Wool Show. So yeah, hopefully I will have managed to put in a few videos along the way. We didn't film like every single stall, I just didn't remember to, and I don't know, I guess sometimes when there's heaps of people around you don't want to
be sort of like
getting in the way and
pushing past people to film.
Yeah, especially I feel like if you're not going to purchase something from a shop, like you need to like their priorities obviously to help their customers. So
if you're standing in the way with a camera, it's rude.
Yeah, I think so. And then the week later, basically, we went to the flower show. We went on the Thursday.
Yes.
Is that the first day that it was open?
No, I think it opens on the Wednesday. Okay. I just feel like from going in previous years, like I think some previous years I've gone during the week and some I've gone on the weekends. Like during the week is just much quieter, obviously, because there's not sort of like families with like kids and stuff like that. Like it's mostly like older people, and there was some school groups that seem to go there for like a school excursion, but it was not too bad. Whereas I think the weekend is like absolutely insane. Plus also I guess because a lot of what's there to see is like the floral displays, but I think obviously the earlier you go, like the fresher the flowers are, but I think it looks
I guess if they're
a bit nicer.
If they're cut flowers, they
which I mean that probably also depends
forever.
a little bit on the weather as well. Like if it just happens to be a particularly hot few days, that obviously the floral displays
might wilt a little bit. And I remember because it's in the exhibition building, I remember from like my uni days doing exams in the exhibition building, if it's like a hot day, it is like stinking hot in there. Like
that some of the displays
I think actually I even had my master's graduation was in there and it was like 35 because it was in like December or whatever. Yeah, and I was just like, and then wearing like that, the robes and stuff, I was dying. I was like, almost didn't want to go. We went on the Thursday and we kind of did like all the outside stuff first, which was mostly like it's almost like a trade expo, isn't it? Like
like they have like a lot of vendors of like gardening related like products, but then they also had like the like show gardens that are from landscaping companies that they get like a patch of however big or whatever, and they have to. And I think it's like a competition that they award like first place, second place, third place, or whatever. For the various different show gardens. Yeah,
I think I did take a few videos of those. And even some of the trade displays. Like there was one nursery that had a really nice flower display. I can't remember what they were called. I did have a bit of a laugh though at there's a section called like Achievable Gardens. And it was still, to me, it looked quite unachievable.
Oh, I feel like achievable I was thinking like, is this achievable if you have a professional landscape and a budget of $10,000? Like, is that what the achievable is? But just for you, like your average person who's just, does their gardening on the weekends.
So I think, after we looked at all the outside stuff, we went inside the exhibition building because I guess the outside stuff is in the gardens, and then inside the actual building they have more
like the floral arrangements.
Yeah, more like flower arrangements. And like some of them are huge. Like some of them are like, it's like they have an area of a few meters by a few meters. And then there were other ones that were like more like a vase or like a...
Yeah, well, I suppose I think the florists who do like the big ones, they will be florists who do like flowers for like events kind of thing.
Yeah. And I think they had also, they had like fashion stuff, like a dress made out of flowers and stuff. And I think they also had like table arrangements, like wedding sort of table bouquets and stuff. So that was pretty cool. And then the last thing that we did was we went upstairs because we had actually booked into one of the paint and sip workshops.
Yeah, I think this one was called Brush and Bubbles, but like they're kind of all similar.
And so the one that we booked in for was to paint a bouquet of sunflowers, or like in a vase kind of thing.
Yeah.
It went for 2 hours. I must admit, like
the time really flew.
Prior to doing that, I thought, oh, you can paint that in half an hour kind of thing. Like I thought there's no way that we would need half an hour. And by the end... 2 hours. 2 hours. By the end, we were like madly rushing to like get it. And I feel like I could have used maybe another half an hour or so, like just to put some
I suppose it's hard
touches.
when you're kind of layering the different colours that you kind of want them to dry.
Yeah.
In between, otherwise you just end up sort of like
just
smearing them all together.
Yeah. So I feel like my painting is not very good, but like that's not a skill of mine anyway. Never been good at painting and drawing. Yeah, my painting didn't turn out very good, but it still turned out a lot better than what I thought it was going to. Yeah, like I thought my painting was going to look like a 5-year-old kid did that kind of thing.
I mean, I suppose it's also just kind of about the experience.
Yeah, but I think because we were so like busy and absorbed in the painting, we actually didn't take any like video of us doing the paintings, but we can put in a photo, or maybe in our next podcast episode I suppose we can each show our paintings as like an FO. Do you reckon?
Maybe. I don't know, I'm a bit embarrassed about mine.
Oh no, I think your painting is nice.
But then to kind of put ourselves to shame, they also had like an art exhibition of like sort of botanical themed
I actually think that's one of my favourite bits about the flower show is the botanical art, because there's all these different like local art societies from around, I guess it's mainly from around Victoria, but I don't know if there are any interstate, but some of these people are just so talented.
And there's like a big variety of styles. Like some of it is like the true sort of like botanical art with, watercolors and pencils, that it's like super realistic.
Yeah. Like it could be in like a textbook or something.
Yeah. It's kind of like the more scientific, I guess, style of it. And then there was other sort of more like an artistic kind of...
Yeah. I think I don't have any like photos or video footage of that bit because you're actually not allowed to film in that section, which is understandable. But I would definitely, for anyone who goes to the flower show, if you have kind of skipped over that section in the past, I would highly recommend it. I think it's
and I think a lot of the artwork there is actually for sale.
A lot of it is for sale. Yeah,
and I don't really know much about art prices, but like it seemed like some of the things that are maybe from more well-known artists were, in the thousands of dollars, but there were quite a few things that were, a few $100s or whatever, that is probably a bit more affordable.
I think quite a few, I was sort of just like writing in like a little note on my phone, like the names of the artists to see if maybe
on like Instagram,
if they sell like prints or something, because probably some of them, like the original artwork is maybe a bit out of my budget, but if they sell like prints of their work, I would consider.
Yeah, or like if they, had a smaller pieces for sale or whatever.
Yeah. So I think that was actually one of my favourite bits of the show was the art exhibition, to be honest. And I really do like all those like sculptural like arrangements and stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's just kind of like a nice day out. And from memory, like, I mean, I think the tickets for that were about $80. But like the tickets for the actual garden show, I think were about $30. Like it's not all that expensive for like a sort of like a full day of kind of entertainment, I guess.
Yeah, no, I thought it was very, very enjoyable, and I would definitely accompany you again.
Yeah. I think one year we went with our mum as well.
You can accompany me to a yarn show, and I'll accompany you.
Like an exchange of services.
Yeah. We can hold each other back. a little bit. Although, no, I must say you were pretty good at the flower show. I think I was struggling a little bit more at the yarn show.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think also, like, I suppose yarn is something that you can maybe justify buying like more than what you need because you can use it later, kind of thing. Whereas I feel like with like plants or like seeds or whatever, like you only have so much space. Like if you buy more plants than what you have room for, like what will you do with them, kind of thing.
Yeah, and I guess it's not exactly like you're going to impulse purchase like a ride-on mower or something.
Some people might. But I mean, yeah, my house is not that big, so
yeah,
I don't really need a ride-on mower.
Yeah. But I suppose that probably is more or less kind of what we wanted to talk about today. Little wrap-up of those two shows that we went to recently. So I think we will probably wrap up. We'll probably continue knitting and chatting
for a little bit longer.
But just
privately,
not on camera. But yeah, thank you for joining us for this little knit and chat episode. If you did like the video and you're not yet subscribed to our channel, it would be very much appreciated if you subscribed. And if you did like this video, apparently giving it a thumbs up just helps other people to see the video as well with the way YouTube works. And yeah, I particularly would be interested in any recommendations for patterns that would be suitable for using
for the
boucle yarn. I think I want to just do like a very simple, just like stockinette, probably raglan, because I think like that boucle texture and the variegated colour, it already has enough going on that I just want something simple stockinette. So I'm leaning towards the Lento, but if anybody has any other recommendations that they've used boucle yarn for and had a good result, I would be more than happy to hear your recommendations. But I think, other than that, we will just say thank you for joining us this afternoon. And until our next episode, we wish you happy stitching. Bye.